Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to the Arabic with Sam podcast. In today's episode, we'll be continuing our series on Arabic for Palestine. We've done a previous episode on an introduction to Palestinian literature. We've also done an episode last week on an introduction to Palestinian Amiyya, the sort of spoken dialect of the Palestinian people in sort of broad strokes terms. And today, I would like us to move on to a poem called Mawtani by Ibrahim Touqan. Because of time, we won't go through the entire poem, but it's available online. It's actually sort of actually sung. It's like the national anthem for Palestine, so it's kind of sung in the way that national anthems are sung. If I didn't mention, it's by Ibrahim Touqan, who is from the Touqan family, of course, along with his younger sister, Fedwa Touqan, who is also an author. She wrote books on many things, actually, but one book of hers that I have is Ar-Rihlat al-As'ab, the hardest journey. She wrote about womanhood and many other things. So what we'll do is we'll do a section from Mawtani today. So I'll read it for you, inshallah. We'll talk about the language that's actually used in it from an Arabic language perspective. And then at the end, I'll read it again to see how much of you have understood it, to see if you've understood all of my explanations. And if not, put a comment in the section below if you're watching on YouTube, or drop me a DM on Instagram if you're listening on the Dear podcast, and tell me that it was awful and you didn't understand anything. But inshallah that won't be the case. So let's get into it. So what does it say? الشباب لن يكل همه أن يستقل أو يبيد نستقي من الردى ولن نكون للعداء كالعبيد لا نريد. So when you hear it, if you search for Mawtani on YouTube, it won't be read like that. It's read like it's sung like a national anthem. But I'm rendering it in a simple manner, perhaps for the understanding of the Arabic language students. It begins, الشباب. الشباب is synonymous with شبان. الشباب meaning the youth. It's the plural of shab. There's an alif in there, شاب, for a youth, but the plural الشباب, the youth. لن يكل. There is an Arabic verb, كل يكل, meaning to tire, to become tired. Without the harakat in there, it often looks like kul, like all of, but it's nothing to do with kul. It's a verb kalla yakillu, meaning to tire. In this case, it is len yakilla. Len is what we use to make verbs future negative. It's used many times in the Quran, perhaps most notably in Surah Al-Baqarah, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَإِن لَمْ تَفْعَلُوا وَلَن تَفْعَلُوا. If you don't do it, وَإِن لَمْ تَفْعَلُوا. If you don't do, وَلَن تَفْعَلُوا. And you won't do it. Very nice. So len makes the verb that comes after it a case that we call mansoob. And in the singular, what that means most of the time is that there will be a fatha on that word. So len yakilla, they will not tire. The youth will not tire. Len yakilla. Hammahu, their desire. Hamma, its root generally, ha, mim, and mim is to do with having importance on something. أنا أهتم باللغة العربية, for example, I'm interested, or I find the Arabic language important. أنا أهتم بشيء, I find something important. You can use that expression. Also the word ihtimam means interest, not as in riba, as in interest from a bank. It means interest as in that you're interested in something. Very nice. The word for the importance as well, al-ahamiyya, the importance, but ahammahu, their desire, what's important to them. Hammahu and yastaqilla. What's important to them is that they yastaqilla. So the n as well is much like len, makes the verb that comes after it mansoob as well, which is why we had len yakilla and also here n yastaqilla, both of them having fathas on the end. Very nice. It is their desire that they yastaqilla. The verb istaqalla, yastaqillu, and then the masdar, istiqlal, or the noun of independence. You can also have yawmul istiqlal, Independence Day, the day of independence. It is their desire that they are independent, that they're free. So what we have so far is الشباب لن يكل همه أن يستقل. So we have the youth will not tire. What's important to them, or their desire, is that they be independent, or that they be free. Oh, yabid. When this is read, and quite often when it's written down, because you sing it or you recite it, not all of the harakat will be in there, particularly harakat that are unhelpful for reciting the way they wish for it to be recited. So there is a sukoon at the end, sometimes in the scripts of this, but it really is aw yabidu, from the verb bada, meaning to perish. It's not actually a very common word. Like synonyms of bada yabidu, like for example to perish or to become extinct, for example. Like to perish, there are other verbs like that, like halaka, meaning to perish or to become extinct. There's a verb in inqarada yanqaridu inqirad. Inqirad means it means extinction. If you can say that animals are muhaddada bil inqirad, they are threatened. Muhaddadatun bil inqiradi, they are threatened with extinction. Anyway, but this is something in between. It's that they will perish, maybe. So what we have so far is the youth will not tire. Their desire is that they are independent or death. They want independence or death. Nastaqi is the next line. Nastaqi. We nastaqi, the verb istaqa yastaqi. Istaqa means to ask for water or to draw water. So we draw water, or we draw a drink from what? Min ar-rada. Ar-rada means, when I was taught this in Palestine, my lecturer told me that it means maut, means al-maut, but he maybe simplified it for me, as obviously Arabic's not my first language. It just means death, but I think it better aligns with the word ruin in English. Like, it doesn't necessarily mean that you'll die, that your life will end. It can mean that. Your ruin can mean your death, but I think maybe ar-rada is better translated as ruin. So we draw out, we quench our thirst with ruin, okay? As in it would satisfy us more than that we don't have independence, that we don't have istiqlal. وَلَن نَكُونَ. Once again, we see our len making a verb negative in the future. We will not. لَن نَكُونَ. Nakuna meaning to not, is the verb to be in Arabic, from kana in the past tense, yakunu in the present, and yakuna in the mansub, like this. We will not be lil'ada, to al-ada, to the enemy. Kal-abid, like abid. Okay, abid is a plural of abd. Abid, but abd can mean two things. It can mean a slave and it can mean a servant. Those things mean something different in English and in Arabic, although in Arabic they use this the same word in the singular. But quite often, as we've seen with many words in Arabic, sometimes if a word has multiple meanings, those multiple meanings will be reflected in their plurals. So for example, in Arabic we have the word bayt, meaning a house, but it also means a verse of poetry. And then its two meanings become manifest in their plurals. So if a bayt means a house, the plural is buyut. But if a house means a verse of poetry, its plural is abiyat. And much like abd, if it means slaves, its plural is abid. But if a abd means a servant, it is ibad. We never hear abidillah. We never hear slaves of Allah. We hear ibadillah. We hear these servants, the worshippers of Allah, ibadullah. Very nice. So here it is. We do not want to be we will not be to the enemy like slaves. Kal-abid. So it says kal-abid twice. La nurid. We do not nurid. From the verb arada, yuridu, meaning to want. Arada, he wanted. Yuridu, he wants. And then the word iradatun with a ta madbut on the end is the word for want. The want to do something. La nurid. We do not want. La nuridu. La nuridu. We do not want. So let me go through it again from the beginning, and then I'll do like a translation, a sort of a crude translation of it, and then you can see how much of it you understood, inshallah. So what was it? Let's go. So الشباب لن يكل همه وأن يستقل أو يبيد نستقي من الردى ولن نكون للعداء كالعبيد لا نريد الشباب لن يكل. The youth will not tire. همه وأن يستقل. Their desire is independence. أو يبيد, or to perish. نستقي من الردى. We draw water from the well of ruin. ولن نكون للعداء. And we will not be to the enemy كالعبيد, like slaves. كالعبيد, like slaves. لا نريد, we do not want. لا نريد, we do not want. I embellished the word well there. The word bi'r is actually not in the passage, but when we say nastaqi, it sort of means to draw water. You'll have heard other words from this, like saqi means giving of water, or the drinking rather, but specifically of water. And we get the form 10 of that verb, istasqa, as well, to seek water. We do salatul istisqa, right? You might do the salah of asking for rain or asking for water. So, but this is the form 8. Istaqa yastaqi, and here nastaqi. We seek water. Yeah, we seek water, or like we drink. We drink from ruin. Okay, that's everything for this video. Thank you so much for listening in and for supporting our Arabic for Palestine series. I'll just remind you, Arabic Unlocked currently, every single new sign up to our academy will donate 10% to humanitarian efforts on the ground in Gaza at the moment. So if you want to both learn the Arabic language and contribute to an important humanitarian cause at the same time, in the build up to Ramadan especially, then that'd be really nice. And I'd love to see you inside the academy. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.